Right, this is video 5.3. Today we're going to be talking about triangles. So we're going to start off with the triangle sum theorem, which basically says that if you take all three angles within a triangle in a plane, they're going to add up to be 180 degrees. So these three are going to add up. When you add up the 43, the 58, and the 79, they are 180 degrees. So no matter what triangle you have, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So if we know two angles and we're looking for the third, we'll subtract the two that we know from 180 to find out what our third angle is. Now, in an acute triangle, you're going to have three acute angles. Remember, acute means that they are less than 90 degrees. In a right triangle, you'll have one right angle and the other two will be acute. In an obtuse angle, you'll have one obtuse angle and the other two will be acute. So we're going to find the missing angle in all three shapes. So we have an acute triangle, we have a right triangle, and we have an obtuse triangle. And remember, for each of these, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So what we'll do when we're doing this is, I'll just show you on the first one why we do it. So if we have 62 and 33 and x are going to have to equal 180. So we can add up our 62 and our 33, which are going to be 95. We want to get our x alone, so we'll subtract 95 from both sides. We've done this before. So our x is going to be equal to 85 degrees, which 85 is still less than 90, and so that's why it works. Now, as you can see, we add up the two that we have and we subtract that from 180. So instead of writing it this way, we can also say that y is equal to 180 minus 28, and then the other degree we have is this one right here. That tells us that that is a 90-degree angle, the little box in the corner. So anytime you see a box, we're telling you that that is a 90-degree angle. So we'll do 180 minus 28 minus 90, which is going to give us 62 degrees. Alright, so for the obtuse, we know that z is going to be equal to 180 minus 14 minus 51. Right, and that will give us 115 degrees. So in this case, what we're looking for here is the obtuse angle, all right? And the other two should be acute because in a right triangle we have one 90 degree and two acutes, and in an acute triangle we have three acutes, in which case these work out, so you know our math was probably right. It's a good way to check yourself. So a triangle where you have three sides and three angles that are acute, so everything is identical or everything is equal, we would call that equilateral. An isosceles triangle is going to have two sides that are equal and two angles that are equal, with the third being different. And then a scalene triangle is where nothing is equal to anything else in there. So the sides are all different lengths and your angles are all different angles as well. So let's find the measures of the triangles all together if we don't have any of the information. Now, in an equilateral triangle, they all have to be equal and they all have to add up to 180. So what we know is that m plus n is equal to 180. We can combine our m's, so we have 3 m's, so we could say 3m is equal to 180. So to find out what our m is, we need to get it alone. So we'll divide the 3 out. And our m is going to be equal to 60 degrees. Now, in an equilateral triangle, you will find that it is always 60 degrees for the angles. So if you know that the angle that is an equilateral triangle, then you should know right away that the measure of those angles has to be 60 degrees. Because if it's anything more than that, then the others two can't also be 60. If it's less than 60, then one of the other ones has to be more than 60, and therefore it's not an equilateral triangle, right? Can't really go with that rule with the other two, but for the equilateral triangle, there will always be a 60-degree angle in there. All right, so for our isosceles, we have our two ends plus our 77 are going to be equal to 180. So to solve for our n, we're going to move our 77 to the other side of the equal sign. That gives us a 2n is equal to 103. Now I'm going to divide by 2 because that 2 is multiplied to my n, so to get rid of it I need to divide by 2. That's going to give us n is equal to 51.5 degrees. Do not assume that every isosceles triangle has a 51.5, 51.5, and a 77 because that's not necessarily true. Alright, so for this one, we just know the three of them added up together are going to be 180. So we have 2p plus 3p plus p is equal to 180. So how many p's together all do we have? We have 2 and 3 and 1. That gives us 6 p's equals 180. To get our p alone, we'll divide by 6. And our p is going to be equal to 30. Now, that does not describe any of the angles except for this one. So this angle is 30 degrees. But this angle is 2 times 30, which would be 60 degrees. And this one is 3 times 30, which would be 90 degrees. So we could also say this scaling triangle is a right triangle. So you're going to use these two triangles for the two problems in the homework and the link. Go ahead and copy them down so that you have a copy of them. You'll be solving for P in one and A in the other two. And I will see you in class.